Yeah, let's talk about that because you have a massive presence on Twitter. Everybody should follow you. You got a pinned post up there that compares, I think, where we are now to like 1997 in the internet, and in 4 years now from now we'll be like 2005 in the internet. But like you're active on Twitter, Willie, and how important is that conversation there? You know, is that as important as some of the analysis you do? And also, like, that's a whole nother mindset to deal with when you've got to interact socially and on social media with people. You know, how do you find that as an important part of the equation for what you do?
It's like it's these huge pros and some cons as well, right? So um I mean, I don't think I would learn as readily without it. Like that conversation helps me think better. Like when I put stuff out, stuff comes back, you have comments, but then it kind of shapes my thinking as well. Often reading other people I follow's thoughts and data, I go, oh, and like I will mix that with something I'm doing and I'll put something else out. And that conversation just pushes me forward to do more and more research because it's research is one of these things that can get pretty monotonous if you're in a black box and not engaging with people that are appreciating it. So like it's really shaped my career. I mean I was working on like one of my tech ventures and um, started with this Bitcoin stuff and started tweeting and it got picked up and it encouraged me to do more, right? And do more research. You get that dopamine hit, right, from social media likes. Um, so that really, I think, has shaped a lot of my career, the recent career, and having that reach also has allowed a lot of extra things to be built on top of that. So, even with the Bitcoin forecast, which is my market intelligence leader, there's no way that would have launched without like having a Twitter following. And I mean, on the downside, you do get a lot of flame wars and trolls and toxicity. So, and I mean, even that's great because I mean, I think as we go through life, it's good to build a thick skin and put yourself out there. Like it was very, very scary to put my research out there, in 2016 when I started posting some of my research. It was like, wow, that's a whole world out there, right? And like I'm from New Zealand originally, and we're a very small country, and we have this kind of like don't like so we call it tall poppy syndrome. Don't play it big because you get chopped down. But also you have this village mindset. Even if you do something great, you only did it in your village, so it doesn't count for much. But you put it out on Twitter, it's the whole world. And so if they like it, then you go, well, I got validated. If they don't like it, I got shot down. But it's the world and not my village. And so I think through that, it's helped me go, well, I'm not New Zealand standard. This is actually the stuff I'm putting out is going out to the world. If it's getting picked up, it's global. So it helped me get out of that Kiwi mindset. And I think that's been a big part of my growth is to social media being a global platform has helped me think about, well, what can I do on a global scale? It's made me more confident. You can be ambitious, but not really confident. But some sort of internal esteem that has been built, not only from being picked up and liked, but also being bashed. That's important as well. So yeah, I think overall it's been a huge positive in my life, and has very much shaped the last 7 years of my career.
It's impressive that you could push through that mental pain barrier. It's probably because you're an engineer, honestly, because I did the same thing. I'm actually quite introverted. And 10 years ago, I started putting myself on YouTube. And, with all my students, I always try to force them to publish, like post the vlog, post the piece of content, because you can record it, but if you don't post it, you'll never really get the feedback. You'll never have to put it on the line. I mean, Dr. Dre can work on an album for 10 years, but until you publish it and get the feedback, you don't grow as an artist, do you? Right? And so,
Exactly.
and most people though are too terrified of the reaction because, all sorts of reasons, they're so emotionally wrapped up in other people's opinion. everybody has a Kiwi syndrome to a certain extent, right? Of different blocks in your mind where you're like, actually, let me stay out of the spotlight. But if you do publish, your learning curve can go exponential. And again, you're exposed to some downside, some hate, which ultimately makes you stronger, and you're exposed to the upside. I personally think that hate is just love in disguise. It just got twisted in the frequency. I don't know. I'd love to get your opinions on that. But
I agree, totally.
yeah, well, talk to me about hate. Like, what is, haters? How is that embodied versus people that love you online? How do you look at that as a perspective? Just while we're here.
One thing you learn a lot is that what people say about you or your stuff is actually they're just talking about themselves. And so, like, the people who hate, they tend to, well, the view I have is that they're living in a relatively small world, and there's other shit going on that's causing some sort of emotional pain going on, and it feels good to dump it. And so I just think that, it's most people, just about everything that's coming out, reading between the lines, it's about themselves. And I don't know, this brings us to the toxicity problem within crypto, particularly within the Bitcoin sort of maxi tribe. On the one hand, it's like considered acceptable because you're protecting this asset. But I think, I don't know. I feel like I think it's gotten to this point where, like, some of the hate that's coming, the toxicity, is not really any more about you, what's going on with yourself, but more about the same process that happens with religion. There's a belief system here. And so anything that's outside of your current viewpoint, which has gotten that strong, that's become a belief system, you've labeled as something wrong, it as evil, or whatever you want to label it, as scammer. And it's interesting in that money, when you deal with crypto, Bitcoin, these are monetary networks. US dollar, it's money, any fiat currency is based primarily on belief that it has value. So it's really interesting to see how these networks have, they're really only got value because of the community behind them. And it's interesting to see the belief is so strong, it's like a religion. And you have the Bitcoin tribe and the Maxi tribe, the Ethereum tribe, and so they go to war, religious wars. So it's something about human nature that this happens. When it deals with belief, the stuff comes out.